A new trading week has begun, so let's do another week of the key levels. I'll be going through the key levels for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. The purpose of these videos is to highlight levels that I personally find interesting and levels that I'm looking for some kind of action around. Now, the action, it could just be a long lower wick into the level. It could be consolidation above the level. It could be consolidation below the level, or it could be chop at the level. So essentially what I'm looking for is any kind of interesting price action that confirms my thought process of these levels being key and important levels. And based on the reaction, then I will use that as my foundation or my entire trade argument. As always, I'm going to start off with Bitcoin here and really highlight two massively important levels on the daily time frame. The first one is going to be a daily breakdown and breakout point at 106.1k. And then the second key level is going to be 107.2k. Now, you could really classify this as one level. It's really a 1% difference. So for price action nerds like myself, that's a difference, but most people don't really care. So it's definitely worth highlighting both of them to show the confluence of the level. So really the purpose of highlighting this level is just showing the untapped areas of liquidity at the lows here. Now, without getting my bias involved too much, I feel as though we are going to bounce this week. So I'm not really entirely sure if this level is going to be used at all, but regardless, it's still worth highlighting just so that we have a plan in case that does happen and in case price does hit that level. So really the thought process behind highlighting this area also is going to be looking for a sweep of the level, looking for price to hold either after the sweep, so a long lower wick to sweep the lows, or price consolidating below the lows, reclaiming the level, and then my long trigger will be on the reclaim of the level. So it will look something like this. That's a very poorly drawn squiggly, but you kind of get the idea where price would fall below the lows, consolidate below, reclaim, and the long trigger is going to be on the reclaim with the invalidation below the low of the consolidation. So in the event I am completely incorrect about price bouncing this week and we actually do fall lower and those key daily levels do not support us whatsoever, the next area of interest is going to be at 98.9k, just around there. As you can see, again, it's another daily breakout, daily breakdown point. It's a key level. We have consolidation below the level before smashing through. Yes, we did wick into the level after sweeping the lows that sent us to fresh highs. So overall, the setup was really strong and this was a great level. So it's worth continuing to highlight and being aware of and just knowing of its existence and how important and impactful it has been for price action. So now enough with the doom and gloom. Let's talk about some potential targets to the upside and to hopefully support our long arguments going into the week. The main first level or first levels I'd like to discuss is going to be 111.7k and just 110.7k. Now again, it's a 1% range. You could trade it as one or two levels, doesn't matter to me, but this is going to be a daily breakdown point. As you can see, daily breakout point. Price has interacted with the level several times, chopped at the level. Same for the lower level here at 110.7. So because price has already reclaimed this level, the goal for highlighting this key level is using it as a foundation for a potential long argument. And now that we have identified it on the daily time frame, we could break it down to the H4 or H1 and use this entire zone to support whatever argument we may come up with. Next up is going to be 117,000. The significance of this level, in my opinion, is pretty obvious. This was a level of support. You could see price consolidating for a long time at this area. This is all on the daily time frame, of course, consolidating above this area before eventually breaking down, but still price retested the level, got rejected for a few days before fully breaking through, acting as support on the way down again as well. So overall, really strong level and one that I would assume price continues to take some time to actually break through instead of doing it on the first time here. It would be great to see price smash through, but it would make sense to kind of look to take some profit or scale out slightly, just take partial profits at this level because of the historical significance of the level. And within that same area of consolidation, the next area of interest is going to be just above 120,000. And it's just the upper level of the consolidation period of the previous key level that I just discussed. And as you can see, the daily time frame rejected from that level for quite a few days before eventually breaking through and then getting smacked down. That was a pretty violent rejection that sent us a few percent lower. So price really did not like spending time above this level at all. So again, another level to take partial profits is going to be at this 120.2k ish area, but really just to be aware of this entire consolidation period because of how significant it is on the daily time frame. And that pretty much covers Bitcoin. I think we have a good idea of support levels that is currently holding up price, target levels for long positions, target levels for shorts if you decide to take any, and really a good mix of everything. So I'm happy with the key levels for this upcoming week. Now let's move on to Ethereum. The first level for Ethereum I'm going to have highlighted is going to be 3,442, and it's a daily level. It's a daily breakdown point. It's a daily breakout point. We have had strong reactions to the downside starting at that level. We have had strong reactions to the upside starting from that level as well. So it's a really important level to be aware of. So I will have this highlighted and look for potential trade setups if things go really badly this week. And again, I'm not trying to let my bias get involved. I just want to have these levels highlighted. I want to be aware of them. And if the time comes to use them, I already know and I don't have to panic. I know where my key levels are. The next level I want to be aware of is 3,700. The reason for that is it's a breakdown point. The high before a massive low was set. Price fell by like 50% starting from that high. So it's definitely worth being aware of that. Also, when price retested this area, it took quite a few days to actually confidently break through the level. We had a rejection from the level. We had chop at the level. We had a deviation below the level before reclaim, before consolidation, before finally the move up. So obviously this level is going to be important to our case going forward. Again, it's not as strong as the level that I just discussed or as strong as the level that I'm going to discuss next, but again, still worth highlighting. The next level is going to be 3,860. It's really the top of the recent consolidation period that you could see here. I guess not that recent, early August, but you could see price perfectly interacting with that level before bouncing from that level perfectly a few days ago. But really, the significance of this level comes from several years ago and over several years of price action. I'll let you do that on your own time, but 3,860 is a level that I really would just like to see hold full stop. I do not want to see much price action below the level. If price does happen to retest the level, I will probably be a buyer. But again, I'm not trying to let my bias get too involved here. With that being said, I think it's important to highlight the next level, which is going to be 4,070, 4,067 to be exact. And really, it's just the low before the recent move up. You can see that price really didn't spend too much time. We didn't retest the lows until somewhat recently, where we wicked into the level for a couple days, attempted to hold the low before falling through, and then when price came to retest from the underside, it took a few days to break through again. So it's definitely another level that I would like to keep highlighted, and one that I could actually use for some lower time frame arguments. And by lower time frame, I mean the H4 or the H1, and another one of those levels that I could really just use as a foundation for my intraday trading and look for reactions on the H4 time frame from this level. So this is where ETH gets a little bit messy because of the next few levels that are coming up, which are all pretty much very similar in a way. So the next area of interest is going to be 4,326. It's going to be a daily breakout point. There's going to be chop at the level, consolidation at the level, really just everything I'd like to see to validate the argument of this being an important level. Because price spent so much time chopping at the level, I would imagine it's going to be somewhat difficult to break this level on the first attempt. So maybe we see price do an underside retest, maybe consolidate for a few days before breaking out again, which would really give a nice opportunity to enter into a position if maybe you're not already in one, or if you're a little bit late to the party, which is perfectly fine, acceptable anyway. And really the next key level is going to be 4,500. It's just going to be the top of that consolidation period. So very similar to Bitcoin, where you have an entire consolidation period being an important area. This is going to be very, very similar, where this entire consolidation period will be a level to kind of look for really strong H4 or H1 setups, and just to be mindful of the place you're in on the daily time frame. And finally, wrapping it up with Solana, which I think has the cleanest key levels out of Bitcoin and Ethereum. The first key level is going to be at 180, or just below 180, I should say. As you can see, look at all the interactions with the level. Look at how many massive moves happened at this level. So it's going to be very important to just be aware of the level. Again, things would have to go pretty bad this week to even revisit this 180 level, but it's just one of those levels to be mindful of, have highlighted, and if it's helpful, maybe in the future at some point, then it's one to be aware of. The next key level that I'm going to be personally using as a foundation for long arguments this week is going to be the 205.7 level. This has historical significance as well, so you can go on the daily chart and extend this to the left if you'd like to see the significance and extra confluence. But this 205.7 level is going to be a daily breakout and breakdown point. We have chops at the level, wicks at the level, really everything that I like to see that's important and makes this a key level. This is going to be one of those levels that I use as a foundation for my entire trade arguments on the H4 and H1 time frame. Next is going to be a zone, as you can see highlighted there, 223 to 218. Again, historical significance there. Price historically has a very difficult time breaking through the 220 level. So again, it's going to be one of those levels that I'm aware of if I'm in an H4 consolidation long position or something like that. Maybe I'll scale out some profits around this zone and just be mindful of it for any potential arguments. Really, if I'm looking to take, if there's some kind of H4 consolidation within this zone, I will not be taking the position unless price is above the entire zone and then retest it as support. That would really be like an A+ setup where I have confluence of the H4 consolidation period and a reclaim of some whatever key high time frame level, which I'm highlighting here. So it's really great to have those foundation levels so you could really just understand where price is and keep your emotions at bay and just strictly and focus on the chart. Hopefully those key levels will be valuable for you for the upcoming trading week, and you could use them as the foundation of several trade arguments throughout the week, and really just be mindful of where they are and how they could impact lower time frame price action. If you have any questions about the terminology I use or really how I think about trade arguments, how I come up with trade arguments, you can get all of my content in the Haven. You can ask me questions directly there. You can go through all of my courses. You can see private videos, live streams, all that good stuff. So definitely join that. And if you have any other further questions, comments, or anything like that, please feel free to leave them below. Thank you.